The LSU coaching search, to some, has gone back to square one. Now, I don't think that's reality, but let's talk about where the LSU coaching search is. Some people are learning lessons the hard way in our industry. Now, I've had a philosophy on this, and fortunately, I have not had to learn it the hard way, but I've watched some other people learn it the hard way. This is the time of year you got to really be careful. And you got to be not too proud to just sit back and say, I don't know. Like, I didn't know if Lincoln Riley was going to LSU. I heard the rumors, but what I do know, and I'll emphasize this again, is there are very few people who I implicitly trust in coaching searches. And none of them had said Lincoln Riley to LSU. In fact, they had said the opposite. Now, here's why you got to be careful. This time of year, in coaching searches and recruiting, those are the only times of year where your best sources have incentive to lie to you and mislead you. You may ask, well, why would you do that? Well, I mean, it's obvious. I mean, if you're Lincoln Riley, if you're Scott Woodward, or maybe you're an agent, there are all kinds of different reasons you want to manipulate the market through information. And when you find folks with microphones, that's how you do that. It was happening with me. I'm not outing anyone because I like these folks. But the bottom line is there are some folks with ulterior motives who reach out to you this time of year and they feed you BS, hoping you'll run with it. I got fed the same thing a lot of these other folks were getting fed, probably from the same people. The difference is we didn't run with it. And so because we didn't run with it, it may make you look like you're in the dark. Yeah, we are in the dark. We have that in common with these folks who were reporting Lincoln Riley to LSU, is what I'm saying. Everyone's in the dark. And you want to know why? Because this coaching search is being handled effectively, contrary to popular belief today. Because there's a notion out there, because a lot of folks did run with this Lincoln Riley to LSU stuff, that LSU must have whiffed on Lincoln Riley. I can tell you I don't believe that's true. I do not believe, now that all this is out in the open, I don't believe that Lincoln Riley and LSU were anywhere close to ever happening. I don't believe that. Maybe he'll write a tell-all book one day and we'll hear otherwise. But here's the important note. For mutual reasons, obviously, Lincoln Riley is not at LSU right now. But here's what that means. What that means, because it was mutual, and I want to stress that no one blew off the other one. If that is the case, and I believe it to be the case, LSU is not in scramble mode. And let me kind of restate that, okay? I want to tee this up. LSU did not go after Lincoln Riley nearly as hard as you were led to believe. Lincoln Riley was not nearly as interested in LSU as you were led to believe. But because a lot of people believed it, and Lincoln Riley is now going to be the head coach at USC, there's this widely held perception that is false, but it's perception nonetheless, that LSU must be in scramble mode today. LSU is not in scramble mode today. Or if they are, they have no reason to be because of Lincoln Riley. And if that's the case, then that means there's no reason to be panicking. Because I can guarantee you, the folks inside Scott Woodward's office, an office of one really, are probably looking around saying, what is that noise outside our window? Is that a torch? Does that guy have a pitchfork in his hand? There's no reason to go torch and pitchfork here, guys. They're not in scramble mode because Riley was never their number one. That wasn't how this was happening. Now that leaves a very interesting blank to fill. You may ask yourself, who is going to be the head coach there? And this is what has a lot of people aggravated, and on the surface I get it. You may ask yourself, okay, if Lincoln Riley wasn't going to LSU or LSU wasn't pursuing Lincoln Riley hard, then why did no one shoot these rumors down? Well, I'll tell you why. It's not all that hard to figure out. It was cover. Lincoln Riley had no incentive to shoot the rumors down because he knew he was going to USC. The longer that y'all are over here talking about LSU, they can work their magic over here with USC. USC loved it. Lincoln Riley loved it. Scott Woodward, if he has things operating the way he wants, he doesn't mind if you're talking about Lincoln Riley either. He knows it's not reality. The guy he's actually going after knows it's not reality. And for all you know, you'll be making your own splash grand slam hire over the next 48 hours or maybe the next week to 10 days that makes you think, boy, had I not focused so much on Lincoln Riley and been chasing ghosts over here, maybe I would have spent more time focusing on that guy's name. Who is that guy? And is it already a guy who is in place and there are verbal agreements behind the scenes? We don't know. That's not a bad thing. Sometimes you come to these videos and you want this list and you want some super secret insider information. No, the best thing to hear in these videos is no one knows. Because I can assure you, I kick the tires a confident amount. I kick the tires before I talk about this stuff. They don't know. They don't know. People inside the program don't know. The boosters don't know. And if they do claim they know, they're lying to you. This coaching search is not being bungled. It's not being run ineffectively. If it were being run ineffectively, everyone would know. No. The rumor mill is being run ineffectively. I think the coaching search at LSU is fine. What you probably know by process of reason and basic logic and deduction skills is he's either after an NFL guy or the guy he's after still has a consequential game or two ahead. Now, you can ask yourself, who fits that description? Does Mario Cristobal fit that description? Sure does. Does Matt Rule fit that description? Sure does. These are not guesses. These are random names I'm throwing out there. But when there is a lack of tangible information, when there is a lack of credible information in the marketplace, there's a vacuum. And sometimes one person says something, i.e. Lincoln Riley to LSU, and because there's an absence of real counter information, everyone just runs with that. And because everyone's running with it, you hear it from 14 different places and you assume those 14 different people have 14 different sources on this and there's too much smoke for it not to be true. Just because a lot of people are saying something doesn't mean there's smoke. That's not smoke at all. It's an echo chamber. That's what the Lincoln Riley to LSU stuff was. It was an echo chamber. And so, if an echo chamber exists because there's a lack of credible information, then guess what reality is? Reality is something could be coming totally out of left field. You could get a name you never would have imagined because if there is a lack of information, it's because things have been ratcheted up really, really tight and there is no leak. And when there's no leak, it means anything could be happening behind that closed door. I love it that way. I mean, it's fun to me. And it should be fun to an LSU fan only because that's how you get the best outcome. I know it may not be fun because you want an update every 5 minutes. That's how you get the best outcome. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this thing goes because the longer it goes, the more likely it is that the guy you're ultimately going to hire is still playing consequential football, whether it be conference title, playoff, they're still in consequential situations, so they can't be peeled away yet. That's never a bad thing. I mean, can you look around the landscape and realize how many home runs there would be that are still in that situation? I don't think we're talking about Saban or Smart, but outside of that, there's some big-time names out there, and LSU's got big-time resources to offer.